All right, guys, I went and did it. I couldn't help myself. Ryan Poles, when are you going to freaking sign a defensive lineman and a wide receiver? Just get it done. Get it done for us so we can have some excitement. These mid-level signings are fun, and we know there's depth, but we need something to get really psyched over before the draft. So get her done for us. Or make the announcement. Let us know the number one pick has been traded. Either way. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. Bear down. And I'm going to learn how to do intro stuff and all the fun stuff eventually. I'm only 3 months old with this channel. Remember that. So once I'm not working a full-time gig, once I get more time for this, I'll figure out how to do all that intro stuff. For now, you just get me yakking, you get me talking, and that's all you're going to get for now. So anyways, I'm sitting here enjoying free agency, hoping big moves will happen, and I decided to string this together because I'm sitting here thinking, what do I want to happen the rest of free agency and in the draft now? And the more that we're going over this, the more that I'm convinced Ryan Poles is 99% sticking with Justin Fields. He's just methodical. He has to cross his T's, dot his I's. That's why you see Matt Eberflus checking out Bo Nix. That's why they're going to all these pro days. They have to make sure there's something that could blow them away, that could knock their socks off and make them change their mind. But right now, let the process play out. So, all right, let's play GM. We've noted what our needs are, what we have lacking, what we have remaining. We have 22 million, roughly 21 million left, roughly in cap space left. We have 5 draft picks. We need to fill these spots. So we're bored today. We're waiting for action to happen for the Bears to sign Mike Williams. We're waiting for the Bears to sign Chase Young. And so we're going to use this 22 million and we're going to go ahead and sign Mike Williams. We see the stats there below. He's a quality player. We know that he just can't stay healthy. So we're going to laden him with a incentive-based contract, $20 million total. If he hits certain benchmarks, if he plays every game, if he breaks 1,000 yards, if he gets 7 touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. So Chargers are paying $12.46 million of that, so we have $7.5 million of that held in reserve. And if he earns that entire $20 million, fantastic. He just helped us win the Super Bowl. So there's step one. That's going to be our first step of our free agency here, of us reaching our offseason the rest of the way this mock. And the second one is going to be Chase Young. You guys already know that I think he would be great to bring in. You're going to see why in a minute. Step one of this, spoiler alert, if Chase Young balls out and we have him a 1-year prove-it deal, and we're to the point where we're stopping needing to cycle all these players and we can start drafting high draft capital again because we've acquired it and we're trading down and we have lots of draft picks, we're going to have some guys start walking out the door. That's going to equate to comp picks. And Chase Young, if he balls out, is going to be a 3rd, 4th round comp pick. So bada boom, bada bing, genius plan, and it can help bring a rookie edge up to speed. So there's our 2 free agent signings. We're done with the mid-level, the low-level ones. We are nailing these 2 big ones to end our free agency. And then this is our entire free agent class. 10 guys. I mean, already, guys, it's already been a pretty busy offseason. Bears fans act like we haven't done a lot, but really, it's been a pretty busy offseason. And if we add those 2 to the mix, this is a pretty successful, one of the most successful. I think all the analysts and people doing all this stuff and the pundits and the talking heads out there, they'd say the Bears had a really successful offseason if that's the way this ended. All right, so now we get into the pre-draft. Caleb Williams has come in. He's done his top 30 visit. He's done his pro day. He's done all his work. And the Bears get confirmed what they're looking for. He's not that special. He doesn't have anything on Justin Fields. He doesn't have the cool, collected, calm understanding of how things work. He shows his youth and immaturity and how much he just wants to be loved and adored. And the Bears say, you know what, 1-1's up for trade. And the Commanders don't want to let it slide. They give a slight overpay, 25% overpay, and they give us 1-2, 236, 367, and next year's first-round pick. Now, some people out there are saying that's not a haul. That is a haul for trading down 1 spot. Now, I understand it could be a lot higher, but I think this is realistic about where we're headed, okay? So this is what the Bears end up doing. And with that, we're going to do what a lot of fans want to have happen. We're going to do the double trade down. So the Bears are going to successfully trade down from 1-2 to 1-3, and we're going to do it pretty straight across the board. This is the 3% overpay. It's not excessive, but the Bears want to get Marvin Harrison Jr., so we're going to get 1-3, 234, and next year's third-round pick. Could we have gotten more? Probably. But to trade down one spot instead of down 4 more spots to get Marvin Harrison Jr., now I'm going to say I'm open to Rome Odunze. These two are pretty level on my playing field, but I do think Marvin Harrison Jr. is the more generational talent. He's the more safe bet. So with that, we now are trading down our 9th pick overall. We're going to trade down with the Raiders, who do need to come up for a quarterback. And so if there's a quarterback sitting there at 9 that they still want, I absolutely see them being able to jump up. It's not a huge overpay, a 9% overpay, so we're trying to keep things fairly realistic here. Yes, we could get more than this, but this is realistic trade values. So 1-9 to 113, we get 377 and 7-223 in the process. The Raiders have a lot of late round picks. And then as a sweetener, we get their 2025 4th round pick in the process as well. So we've traded down successfully 3 times in the first round, but still have number 3 and number 13 with a lot of additional draft capital. And you guys know where I'm going. I love Jackson Powers Johnson. I truly believe he's generational, and this is why we haven't gotten a starter in free agency. Jackson Powers Johnson shores up that middle. No sacks, hits, hurries allowed. He is going to be a beast in the middle. All right, 2nd round, 34th pick from New England. We're going to take Chop Robinson. Anybody who's been listening to me knows he's growing on me. No missed tackles, well, 7.1%, but that's low, and his sack hit hurry rate is high. Very, very high production. Bringing him in behind, we'll pause that for a second here. Bringing him in behind Chase Young gives him a chance to develop too. And then as he develops, Chase Young's weakness has been his tackling. So in the run plays, we can bring Chop Robinson in to be able to get those developmental things going. And then as he develops into a pass rusher, because that takes time in the NFL, as he develops, he can take over more and more. Chase Young has a big year. They rotate all 3. It's going to be big if Chase Young can ball out and then he leaves, and then we have Chop Robinson learning behind him. That would just fantastic in my mind. All this extra draft capital gives us so many options, only possible if we trade away 1-1. So with 36, I know Xavier Legette is going in mock drafts a lot lower. I really think this is realistic about where he's going to go. He had a great pro day. I think he's going to go right at the top of the 2nd round. Yes, this is a stacked wide receiver class. He, to me, is who I want for a slot receiver. I really think he would be awesome in Shade Waldron's sets. So to have Xavier Legette to go with Marvin Harrison Jr., Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Tyler Scott, Velus Jones, those 6, I mean, that really opens up this wide receiver room. Anybody who's complaining that Justin Fields is whining about his wide receivers, well, he can't anymore because he's going to have one of the most stacked wide receiver rooms in the league, and this would be beautiful. So I am all in on Xavier Legette, picking up Chop Robinson, then Xavier Legette in the 2nd round. Now we're going to get to our 3rd rounders, and we've got 3 of them now because we've traded down 3 times in the 1st round. With the 67th pick, we're going to pick Kieran Amagdabdi. Yes, I said it wrong. I botched it, but stud offensive tackle from Yale, growing on me. A lot to like about him. His pass blocking is elite. He doesn't let anybody through, so I love him. All right, 75th. Yes, we're taking a running back. You're going to see on the depth chart at the end what happens here. Jalen Wright, running back out of Tennessee, and he is a beast to me. He's exactly what we need. All right, we got Swift, and then we got him, so it's stacked our running back room, and now we're going to take Mason Smith as our defensive tackle. This is turning out to be my favorite mock draft I've done, and I'm sitting here bored waiting for breaking news, and this is what I'm coming up with, and I love it. Let me go back to that for 1 second first. So Mason Smith didn't have a single missed tackle this last year, and a lot of people might be saying, well, we need a 3-tech. Well, I don't agree because Gervon Dexter at the end of the year, I'm going to do a separate video on this. How he came on at the end of the year was just as impressive as Jalen Carter. Now, Jalen Carter had a better year overall, but Gervon Dexter at the end of the year, I think there's a lot of coaching that happened there, and there's additional coaching that can come with Eric Washington where he's going to unleash another level. he sacrificed a little bit of his tackling as he put his head down and was bull rushing more. But those sacks, hits, and hurries at the end of the year, that was 3 technique at the highest level. And I really think a lot of people are overlooking the fact that Gervon Dexter is special. Having Zach Pickens as a backup to him, bringing in Mason Smith, those 4 with Andrew Billings is a really, really stout, young defensive tackle group for the Bears. I absolutely love this option, and I think it would be really fun. All right, at 110, a lot of you know I love Zach Zinter. He doesn't have to come in right away. He can get some developmental role right behind Nate Davis, and eventually I think he could take over for Nate Davis, and Nate Davis's contract is cuttable at the end of this year. Save us some cap space if Zach Zinter does a good job. Then at 122, this is what I call my balanced tight end. Yeah, we didn't get Cade Stover, but I really like Ben Sinnott as well. Had a really good combine, and I like the idea of having him as our 3rd tight end developing. Tight ends take time to develop in the league. To have him, I'm going too fast here, sorry. To have him behind Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett would be really beneficial for him to learn from. All right, now with the 7th round pick we got from Las Vegas, we're going to take Torrey Taylor, and we're going to replace Trenton Gill. Trenton Gill hasn't been horrible, but he's not the best. And I think anybody who's a Bears fan who really looks at it can analyze that and say, you know what, he really hasn't been the best. Torrey Taylor is getting a lot of notoriety. A lot of fans like him. I like him. I think he can place the ball a lot better. And the yardage game, the ball placement game in the NFL is going to win you some games. So here's our overall draft. I love this draft. I am convinced this would be a home run. So hope you guys like this too. Let me know what you do and don't like about it. I'll show you the depth chart now, and you're going to drop your jaw and say, yep, we need to trade away Caleb Williams. This is a no-brainer. Anyone who's a Caleb Williams fan right now, look at this, because this is realistic. This is not Madden mode. This really could happen. This trade is extremely realistic. This is right within the realm of what could happen from going 1-1 to 1-2. This is extremely realistic. If the Patriots don't want anybody to jump above them because they want the second quarter, say they want Jaden Daniels, say they want Drake May, whichever one it is, if they know the Bears are trading out and possibly going to 6, it's just like the Eagles last year, where the Eagles traded up 1 spot. Now, if 10-9 isn't worth as much, but 10-9 to give up a 4th-round pick, that's the exact same value as this one from going to 3-2. Giving up their 2nd-rounder and a future 3rd is the value of jumping from 3-2. This is extremely realistic. These trades are very, very possible. This one is the one that might not happen, because Ryan Poles is the type, just like with Darnell Wright last year. If he loves someone, he doesn't want to let someone sneak in front of him. So he might take Jackson Powers Johnson at another 9 and surprise everyone. Wouldn't surprise me, honestly. If he took Jackson Powers Johnson at 9, highest a center would be drafted. But if you love him that much, I can see it happening. He could trade down, though, and say, you know what? If we don't get him, we're going to get Jared Verse instead. If somebody jumps ahead of us, then we're still going to get Jared Verse. That might be the mentality he has. And then instead of getting Chop Robinson in the 2nd, he would get Zach Frazier in the 2nd. See where I'm going with that? So it's interchangeable. So that's why I think he might still be willing to trade down and say, you know what? If someone's going to jump ahead of us, we still have options. We can get Jared Verse, blah, blah, blah. See where my train of thought's going with that one? It really logically makes sense when you're thinking GM cap on. All right, so there's all our picks. We've picked up 2 wide receivers, a running back, a center, defensive end, offensive tackle, defensive lineman, offensive guard, tight end, punter. We're stacked, and we have the extra draft pick. So here's our draft picks next year. 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, 2 third-rounders, probably a third-rounder because Ian Cunningham's gone, probably a 4th third-rounder because Chase Young would be gone, probably another 4th-rounder because Mike Williams would leave in free agency as well, and that's another comp pick. See where we're going with these signings at the end of free agency? That's why I like Mike Williams and Chase Young. If you guys haven't got on board yet, those things matter long-term. And when we have all these draft picks coming up, you let some of these guys walk that were on prove-it deals, and you be able to replace them with high-quality draft picks. 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, possibly 3 thirds, possibly 3 fourths. This is stacked. I love it. Here's our depth chart on offense. The green ones are our free agents. This is real. This has already happened with the green ones. The blue ones are this fantasy draft that is extremely realistic. It really is. In this deep draft class, getting all these players is realistic. It could happen. Now notice on the running back right there, Jalen Wright replaced Travis Homer. We have so much depth there. Travis Homer also saves us $2 million in cap space. All right, over here on the right, Matt Pryor coming in and Kieran Amagaji. I'm trying. I really am trying. If you actually watch this, Kieran, I am sincerely sorry. I doubt you're going to watch it. But if you do come across it, I'm sorry. I hope you're a Bear. And if you are, I'll get your name right. But cutting Larry Borum, which is going to be done now regardless. That's going to happen. The other reason why, saves us $3 million in cap space. There's cap space being saved. That move, Travis Homer, plus the buffer room we have, that's going to allow Ryan Poles to start some of the extensions in the middle of the season once those cuts happen. We're going to be able to extend Jack Sanborn, which is the number one priority to me. And then if Tevin Jenkins stays healthy, we can extend him. And then, gasp, Justin Fields. If he balls out and takes us to the NFC Championship game, he's going to get an extension, guys. Anyways, so there you go. This is stacked. Let's look at the defense. There's the defense. Look at those defensive ends. Montez Sweat, Chase Young, DeMarcus Walker, and a rookie in Chop Robinson, as highly touted as he is. That really is a stacked defensive end room. Then the defensive tackles, Andrew Billings, Gervon Dexter, Zach Pickens, Mason Smith. You can have more defensive linemen, but when they're that stacked, I don't see us carrying more than the 8. We could carry a 9th. Khalid Kareem, he is our incomplete grade for us. We picked him up last year. I don't know what we have in him yet. I don't see that being high value, though, more of a practice squad player. But on the secondary, stacked. Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Kyler Gordon, Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, backups, Jonathan Owen, Terrell Smith. It's stacked. Linebackers stacked. This is a good team. I'm really excited about what this team can be if this is the path we go. We're in win now mode. This is compete for the division type of stuff. This is definitely 10-win and competing against definitely against the Packers, but against the Lions for the division. I absolutely see that. We already beat the Lions last year. We should have had them both times. And on top of that, we're improved big time. This is exciting. Anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Gives me a little bit of excitement in the middle of this madness that is free agency. And hopefully this big signing will happen ASAP. I want this one and I want this one. And if nothing else, hope you guys realize there's a big value in both of them, because if they ball out and they walk away, we get comp picks for them. We haven't been in a position for comp picks for a while. We need quality players and big draft capital to make that happen. We can't keep all the great players. Some of them end up walking after they have the prove-it deals. Some of them end up walking after the end of their current term because we have so much youth and we're continuing to draft and build through the draft. It's a good position to be in. That's where Ryan Poles has taken us, so I love it. So let me know what you guys think. Mid-free agency mock draft. I didn't really think I'd be doing a mock draft, but honestly, I can't sleep, and I'm going through all this stuff, and I'm fantasizing about what the Bears are going to do. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, I'll let you know when there's breaking news. Bear down.